Hello everyone, this is James from Tin Robot Games, and this is the Making a Game web series where you get to follow along with us making a game. In this case, we're reskinning a card game that's been in my family for over 100 years. In today's episode, we're going to cover off how to source an artist for your particular game.
Resistance to fun is futile.
Okay, so you've got a game, you've got a concept you've come up with, and you need to find an artist to do the artwork. Now, if you're watching this episode, you probably don't do graphic design yourself or don't have anybody you know that is a graphic artist. So we're going to go through some different options on how you can find one. One particular thing you can do is check your network. Ask around, ask friends if there's anybody that you know that can do illustration. And explain to them, look, I'm doing a card game or I'm doing a board game, and this is something I'm going to put on Kickstarter, and you're going to get some accolades by being on that box as well. Additionally, you can go on Facebook. There's many different Facebook groups you can check out. They're dedicated specifically to helping people who are on Kickstarter, and on there you can ask, hey, do you know anybody that'd be interested in doing some artwork? Myself, most recently, I just went to Toronto's Fan Expo. And while I was there, I went through aisle upon aisle upon aisle of comic book artists and different artists that were there and collected business cards and introduced myself to various people saying, hey, would you be interested or have you ever considered doing artwork on a card game or a board game? And I was actually shocked. There was a lot that said, I've never even thought of it. That's actually a great idea. Here's my card. Let's talk. So there's different ways you can source an artist. Online, you can go on freelancer.com, you can go on upwork.com, or even Fiverr.com. So today's episode, I'm actually going to walk you through specifically how you do it on Fiverr.com, which is what I use for my most recent skinning of this particular game. So I'm going to walk you through how I found an artist and then exactly the approach you have when you're communicating back and forth and some of the things you need to look for, some of the tips and tricks. All right, so I'm at my computer right now, and on Fiverr.com, you're going to go to the top left-hand corner. In my case, I'm typing in illustration fantasy, which is the best style to match what I'm looking for. On the top right-hand corner, you want to click on the sort by button, and you want to choose newest arrivals. Now you want newest arrivals because you have different people who are illustrators who have just joined and they're looking to build up their portfolio. They want to get some examples of their work out there. So what greater way to do that than to have an attractive rate to get new people to try them out. So you will always get the best rates if you choose that. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're skimping on quality. You're just getting people who are new to the system. They're trying to build out their portfolio. So in my particular case, I'm going to go here. I'm going to pick an example of an artist. Okay, so in this example, I'm going to scroll down. I'm going to pick this Jedi 6. She looks great, like the style. Scoot through. You can see right away that the rates are much, much cheaper. There's also an outline of what you get for that. Now, commercial use is very important. Commercial use essentially says you have the rights to sell this when you're selling your game. You can make money off that artwork. Now, if you don't have a commercial use agreement, there can get into a situation where you have artists that are making a claim on your game saying, well, I never authorized them for that. Now I want a percentage of the royalties or so forth. So it's very, very important that you find a commercial use, whether it's with Fiverr or anybody else. In this case, we're looking for high resolution. We're looking for some color. And one thing to also look for is, are you just getting the character themselves, or are you getting like any kind of background and so forth? How many revisions they have and so forth. So there's the basic, there's standard, and there's premium. In this case, this particular artist looks like standard is going to be exactly what we're looking for. So once we choose and say, yes, this is the artist we're looking for, you want to contact the seller. All these sellers are set up to do one image or maybe two images tops as contracted work. For this particular thing, in my case, I have 15 different images I need for a game. Or if you're doing a board game, you're going to need multiple amounts of images for your game. So what you want to do is you want to actually contact the artist and say, hey, look, here's the situation. I am a game developer. I'm doing a card game or I'm doing a board game, and I need your help. This is the kind of artwork I'm doing. I really love your style. But I'm looking for multiple images. I'm looking for, in this case, 15 images. Can you provide me a rate for the entire job? And then how long you think that actual job will take? Very, very important to compliment on the style. If you like the style, you're obviously going to hire them because you like their style. Why not just say, hey, I really like your style? People like to be complimented, especially somebody who's putting a lot of time and effort into something like artwork. Want to be appreciated. So there you have it. That's how you find an artist on Fiverr.com. That's how I particularly found one for my game. And again, I just want to highlight the importance of getting the commercial rights, no matter who you use, whether it's a personal contact, whether it's on one of these freelance sites. Please make sure you have some piece of paper drafted up between you and the other individual saying you have commercial rights for that game. It'll save you a lot of headache in the future. Also, it's very important that when you're working with an artist, you're very, very specific about what you're looking for. Best way to do that is to provide some specific examples. So for example, John Knox is one of the characters in my particular story. Now I knew I wanted to have an illustration where he was at the pulpit. Now all I could find was this carving that had him kind of preaching out to the masses. I also knew I wanted the face to be very specific to how he actually looked at the time, the best resemblance I could find. And lastly, the clothing in those two images didn't match the kind of clothing he would have actually wore at that time. So I provided 3 specific images saying, hey, use this for the clothes, use this for the face, and use this for the overall pose that I'm looking for. So the more specific you can be, the better. Make sure you also tell them, though, that you want it in their style. You don't want them just tracing what you sent them or just cutting and pasting what you sent them. I've had some colleagues that have sourced freelance work where they've said, hey, here's a couple examples of things I'm looking to do. And the artist actually just traced over top of what they provided and sent it back to them. And they said, well, it's not really what I'm looking for. I'm looking for it in your style. You'll also find that your various images that you get back will all match. Often you'll get a game that you're playing and you'll look at the artwork and you'll say, wow, this is great artwork, but it kind of looks like it was all drawn by different artists. It doesn't really all work together. So this is something that's very important when you're talking to the artist to say, hey, look, I want this to be in your style. Now, if you found any of these tips helpful, please subscribe down below, hit the button. It'll help me out a great deal. Please stay tuned for our very next episode where we're going to actually go through the artwork that I received back and some of the tweaks I needed to make and how I went about doing those. Thanks again for joining me. Once again, my name is James from Tin Robot Games.
Resistance to fun is futile.